Boss is power hungry and told me to be on time, so I changed my work times a bit. So did my apprenticeship with this company, and after the 3 years I moved to a standard IT position at a plant near my home. The first 6 months went great and the communication with colleagues and boss were good until one day. He wanted to talk to me about a few things, but one stuck out like a sore thumb. He asked me to pull my timesheet up where all our log into work and log out of work times are saw-fed. He told me to be on time because I was 3 times too late in the last 2 months. He would check it regularly and would get back in touch if it happens again. The funny thing is, I was minimum too late on these days because of traffic reasons. I drive 25 to 30 minutes. And I also stayed longer on these days. So he told me to better plan for it, and he wants me to be here exactly at 6. I was furious about this. It seemed like such a useless complaint and just a way of keeping me under control and to mark him as the boss. Normally I would come in at like 5:50. Work time only starts at 6. And leave around the 13:50 mark. Work ends at 13:45 and paid overtime starts 31 minutes after closing time. I would start working before 6 with easy work like mails and stuff and worked a bit overtime because I had to pack up. Now I just drink coffee and stand around while looking at my phone until it is exactly 6 o'clock and I log in. No min early, no min late. He wants me to work exactly at 6. Okay. I will, but I will also leave when my time is done. I also pack my things neatly so I can log out exactly at 13:45 and I don't stay longer because I need to be on time. Overall, he lost work time with useless power tripping. He never mentioned the change because he can't do anything about it. This is so common. I worked with a girl who was brilliant at what she did. She lived furthest from the office and would commute an hour and a half each day on one of the most notoriously bad, as in traffic congestion, roads around, always in early and leave late. One day she was 15 minutes late, so they pulled her aside to speak to her. Her response was that all those times that she worked back and they never said anything to her. The one day that she was late though. So she said, "Screw it, no more working back." It's incredible how stupid some are. I've had something similar at my job. I was 3 minutes late. Strolled in like it was no big deal. Grabbed my coffee and headed straight to my truck. No morning chit-chat as I was late. So I left the yard first. End of day, got a talking to from my forema. Seems main manager saw me late and talked to my department manager, who had to talk to my foreman, who then had to talk to me. You mean that you wasted almost an hour of time talking about my 3 minutes? How about you look at the security cameras and see that I also left the yard 10 to 15 minutes before anyone else? Now they are mad that I pointed out that our end of day bell can't keep its time and sometimes goes off 30 to 45 seconds late. I just leave when my phone hits time and it drives the main manager insane. I had a falling out with a manager over overtime which was promised and then tried to walk back. After the event, he tried to offer lesser alternatives. I didn't accept them. Told him to shove it up his ass and that I would be working to a stopwatch from then on. I then looked at the time. Oh look, I say. My 40-hour are up in 10 minutes. It was Thursday afternoon. The following week I had a $3,000 raise. Had an employee that was late all the time. Probably every day she was late. But she was a super hard worker and she almost always came in on her scheduled days off if I needed her to, and always stayed later when needed, which was probably every day as well. So her being late was never an issue with me. I was on a remote assignment in the Air Force back in the day. We used to come in on weekends and work equipment since there was nothing else to do. No civilian community at all. One day the base asked for volunteers for an inspection. So me and the other 2 technicians volunteered. The wing commander gave us the rest of the day off afterwards. Well, our shop boss called us in anyway. When I commented later that day that I thought a colonel had some authority to give time off, our shop boss said, "Not in my shop." Needless to say, we stopped coming in on downtime. Shop boss was puzzled when the backlog started climbing. No more free work for you. Numbnuts. I'd done this at jobs as well. I am in IT. Normally, I would work on weekends to apply updates, or late if there are server issues. But if you are going to micromanage me, better hope the server goes down during set office hours. Had my boss give me hell for logging 1 minute after scheduled time. One day before I left work 45 minutes past logout time. Not one word about it. I hate micromanagement. I worked a job where I was promised to raise after I have worked there 3 months. When the time came, they cut my proposed raise in half because I was 5 minutes late on one day during those 3 months. I didn't stay there long. This kind of micro is incompetent management if the employee is delivering their results. Lowers engagement and morale to gain what? I supervise a small call center for a state government agency with 12 people. We're open 7:30 to 5 o'clock MF. We have some folks that start at 7:30 and leave at 4:30 with an hour for lunch. And some that work 8 to 5. Also with an hour for lunch. For the business, it's important to have folks ready for calls right at 7:30 a.m. as well as folks to take calls right up until 4:59 p.m. To be able to take calls right at 7:30, people would need to come in a few minutes before to boot up their machine and log into all the various help applications, password rest stuff, network monitoring stuff, server monitoring stuff, call queue applications. On a perfect day, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get everything connected and verified. Instead of asking the openers, folks that start taking calls at 7:30, to come in early and give their time away, I've set their hours from 7:20 a.m. to 4:20 p.m. The closers, folks who are on the phones until 5-ish, will often have a call come in at the last minute, sometimes literally at 4:59, and the caller still expects reasonably simple issues to be completed right away, rather than ask them to stay late and give their time away. I've set their hours from 8:10 a.m. to 5:10 p.m. Company expectations are met, and it's quite rare that anyone is asked to work beyond their schedule times. Failure to address your employees' needs is a failure to address a business need. This is why I clock in about 15 minutes early and then go shit. This is exactly what the boss wanted. Now you're both happy. I worked a factory job with a time clock system for a short period. Was stuck in the line for the clock one day and punched in a click late. They docked me 15 minutes, per their policy. From that day on, if I was running late at all, I made sure to punch in at 14 minutes and 55 seconds past the hour. If my boss ever starts complaining about me being a minute late, you bet your ass that I'm gonna be anally retentive about the hours I spend. Fortunately, my employer is sensible. Might want to check up on local laws. You can't be expected to work unpaid overtime. Either that means you work a minimum of 30 minutes OT if required, or you get paid a minimum of 30. Even if you get stuck back for a minute. At one of my old jobs, I always worked extra and left later than needed. Honestly, I was okay with it. Had nothing else going on. Then they ragged on me for coming in late. I accepted an offer elsewhere a week later and put in my 2 weeks. They had to gall to be annoyed after I gave notice. How could you leave us? Quote, lol cuz fuck you, that's why. He probably didn't notice the time because he never noticed the change. Never noticed that you used to start early and leave late. All he ever looked for was cheaters. Anyone who arrived minute late. Anyone who left a minute early. Jerk. Constipated jerk. I had the same thing with my boss. He demanded that I have to be in the office at 9 a.m. and have to get any overtime approved 2 hours before the overtime. That ended after I told a VP that it's 5 p.m. and my workday is over. I have been instructed to leave. This is exactly what you should have done. Cheers. I am salaried and my boss always gets pissed when I come in right at my start time. He said that if you're early you are on time and if you're on time you are late. Doesn't matter how much time I am there after the end of my shift. Also doesn't matter that I work through lunches and put in 12-hour days. What matters is being 15+ minutes early every day.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.